a year ago, I did a video called How Fast Can I Close? It's a question most buyers ask me. How fast can I buy this house? You see a house, you want to buy it, you're excited to move on, you're excited to move in, to paint, to add new appliances, to landscape the front yard. How quickly can you do that? So that video a year ago addressed that topic. And in that video, I talked about the longest it might take, and I also talked about how quickly we could get you closed. But that, I found out, has changed.
What?
And that's what we're talking about today, and we're starting right now. I'm Sherri Ann Green with Coldwell Banker. Welcome to my YouTube channel that guides home sellers and home buyers in Washington, D.C. and Northern Virginia. So when you're buying a house, and frankly, even when you're selling a house, you want to know how fast the closing process can happen. How fast can I move in, or how quickly can I get out? I'm ready to go. I'm ready to sell. I'm ready for someone to have their memories here, and how quickly can we make that happen? Now, sometimes as a buyer or a seller, you need time. You need 30 days or 40 days because you're doing a job transfer and your mover isn't coming yet, or you still need to pack, or you're still paying rent somewhere and you don't want to pay rent and a mortgage for too many months. So there could be some reasons that you want to move at a slower, normal pace. However, you may want to move quickly. A lot of people do. A lot of buyers are excited and they want to move fast, and a lot of sellers are ready to go. They're ready to move on, and they want to stop paying what we call carrying cost. And what are carrying costs? They are the costs that it takes you to own a home: the mortgage, electricity bill, the gas bill, the landscaping, the housekeeping, all those things that it takes to run that house. Sellers often get excited to eliminate those carrying costs faster. So when I did that video about a year ago, I talked about the longest period, and that was 45 days if you're doing a Veterans Administration loan, because they just take longer sometimes. They can move quicker, but they typically take about 40 to 45 days. And then I talked about the shortest time period being 14. If you're paying cash, we can typically get you closed in 14 days. Well, boy, was I wrong.
Wrong answer.
I just had the fastest contract to close I have ever seen, and it just happened to be on my own condo. So I thought it would be fun to circle back to this answer and see, how long is it? How long can it take? Or how short a time really can it take for me to close? So here's what happened with mine. I put my condo on the market as what we call coming soon, and I did that on a Thursday. So on Thursday, I announced to the world that this condo would be on the market, and it would be on the market on Friday. In a coming soon status, you can't go into the house. No one can walk in the door yet. It's a way of saying, this is what's going to be on the market. Get ready. Make an appointment. Make sure you've cleared your schedule. Make sure you find time to see the house. Now, my condo was my condo. My condo is in a great location. It has a partial view of the water. It's in Georgetown. It's in a historic building. It's beautifully restored. It has a lot of nice upgrades, and it has a lot of great space. I knew that it would be a popular home on the market, but I didn't think it would go this quickly. And maybe that was just me making sure that I had a reality check for myself. I didn't want to get too excited because I am ready to move on, but I also knew that the product was one that consumers were looking for. The first thing that I did before I even put it on the market was price it accordingly. I knew that I wanted it to move quickly. I wanted to cut my carrying cost. I had already moved into a rental. I had already moved out all of my belongings. I had staged my apartment beautifully, and I was ready for it to move as quickly as it could. I also wanted to put it at a value that made sense. I didn't want to undercut the market and look ridiculous. What's wrong with this condo? But you have to be smart. So I priced it at a place where I knew was wise based on what the other condos in the building had sold for. And I also knew it was a smart enough number that it would drum up interest. So I didn't overprice it, and I didn't crazily underprice it. I put it right about where I thought the market value would tell me the condo would sit. So we are on coming soon on a Thursday. I tell everyone it's going to be on the market on a Friday, but I don't allow any showings till 3 o'clock. And Why is that? Was that part of my strategy? Not necessarily, but it turned out to be a good strategy. I did it because I really wanted to walk over on Friday morning and make sure everything was pristine and picture perfect one more time, just to make sure nothing had happened overnight. I wanted to turn on all the lights and set the timer on the bubble lights that would come on the terrace at dusk. I just wanted to make sure it was perfect. It was my house and my product, and I just wanted it to be really pristine and ready to go. So at 3 o'clock, I had showings back to back up until about 8 o'clock that night. I had a buyer call me, well, their agent called me. They had not made an appointment and the day was totally booked. And frankly, Saturday was already totally booked as well. It was going to be hard for this buyer to get a private appointment. The buyer's agent asked me if they could tag along with someone else's appointment. I told her it was really going to be up to the agent that she's tagging along with. I told her there was a showing at 5 o'clock and she was welcome to go ask that agent if they would allow them to go in with them. They did. And the buyer left my condo, immediately wrote an offer. And by 7 o'clock that night, I had an amazing, unbelievable offer in my box. It was too good to pass up. I've seen what can happen when a buyer gets an amazing offer and they don't take it. They wait and say, well, let's let a dozen more people see it tomorrow and maybe they'll love it too, and let's just wait it out. I know what can happen when you wait it out, and sometimes you do need to wait it out. But when you get an offer like I got, all cash, no contingencies, close in 2 weeks, well over the ask price, and I'll take your home as is, which means I didn't even have to sweep the floor on the way out, that's an offer you can't turn down. I took it immediately. I disappointed some people. I had to cancel some appointments. But at this point, I had to look at this from my perspective as a seller. I knew I had the golden ticket offer in my hand, and it wasn't going to be wise for me to let that go. Waiting until Tuesday to see if I got $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 more dollars just wasn't going to be worth it. There was no home inspection with this. There was no appraisal. There was no finance contingency. And they just wanted me to get out and hand them the keys. As I mentioned, we had a 2-week close written into the contract, but the buyer was really anxious to move in and they were going out of town. We closed that condo in 11 days.
Excuse me?
11 days. Let that sink in. Less than 2 weeks. And if you think about it in terms of a business week, we closed it in 6 business days. In my video that I did about a year ago, I said we can close you with cash in 2 weeks, and that's about right. How on earth we closed my condo in 6 business days, in 11 days total, is beyond me. I was thrilled. The buyer was thrilled, and the title company gets huge kudos for pulling this off. I even had a couple of title issues that had to be worked out, but that is an entirely different video. So how fast can you close on a house? Well, apparently you can close as fast as 10 days. I don't know that that's always going to work out. The cards have really got to stack up correctly, but it is possible for you to close your house, whether you're buying it or selling it, really quickly if the buyer is paying cash, if the title company is laser focused on getting it done in time, and if you as the buyer and the seller give the title company everything you need to give them as soon as they ask. And maybe that's the moral of this story. It's not so much a quick close, it's that you've got to work together. When the title company called me and asked me for something, I stopped what I was doing and I gave it to them immediately. I knew that me holding up any information was going to hold up this sale, and I didn't want that to happen. So how fast can you close on a house? Less than 2 weeks if you have cash and you answer every question as quickly as possible. How fast do you want to close on your house? Have you thought about it? Have you thought about how much time you need to get ready to buy a house, to get ready to sell your house? You're in the right place. My channel is dedicated to the buying and the selling process, so while you're here, don't forget to subscribe.